So, here it finally is, the profile for the DD Infernity variant. Not the wacky one I posted like Saturday, the fun variant with like tuner and stuff. The actual aimed to be rogue level, hyper consistent Infernity build. And I have to say, it's very consistent. However, before jumping into this video, I'm not a snake oil seller, I'll tell you right now. This build has some big issues. Two of them things. Two big issues. It is consistent, it is somewhat resilient. But, once again, there's two issues. One, we often end up with a somewhat weakish end board in exchange for consistency. Traditionally, in 3-axis Infernity, we would end on Appaloosa, Archfiend, Savage Dragon, and sometimes even an additional Void Ogre. So, enough attack power to OTK report. I mean, especially Savage Dragon usually gets like half so you just attacks, and it's like 4.8k or something like that. We lack those big attack numbers. Yes, some combos will end with, for example, additional Oracle King. That might just be enough, but often we can't finish the opponent off. This means we have to resist multiple turns of opponent's plays, and then we only have 3 Barrier, a Break, and Appaloosa, which sounds like a lot of negates, but often you'll find it's not enough. So it's one of those things why I have second thoughts about this build. Like, it's hyper consistent, don't get me wrong. If you're looking for consistency, you're not gonna find more consistency in this build. The other issue, this build does have no way to access a very important Infernity card that a lot of people are sleeping on, that even I, for a longest while, didn't appreciate. Infernity Pawn. Wait, I thought this card was useless. I can already hear some of you thinking. It's not. Simple reason, Dugaris. Dugaris makes it so that during your draft phase, until your main phase 2, you basically cannot use your barriers, you cannot use your break. So you're basically left to fend off with only Appaloosa. If you're playing against a control deck that can just flip their rivalry, you can't counter it and suddenly your entire board is gone. Because we skip on main phase 1, we can't even set any cards, even then during standby phase we're weak. Pawn, theoretically, just avoids this issue by skipping on draft phase. It would require an additional Infernity card in the deck, so that would be another issue to look at. I suppose running a Void Spell Trap, at least into the Void, could theoretically help that issue as well. But yeah. In an ideal world, we would run Infernity Pawn. Simply just do not draw. Because right now, we're very fragile in the draw phase. If we ever face an opponent playing a control deck that knows Infernity, they'll set a back row, pass, we can break one of them. We have to get lucky with that. Otherwise, we can just go full off combo. We only have monster negates, which doesn't affect back row. Those are the two issues of the deck at the moment. I thought I'll think out lightly, so you guys know it before I try to sell this build. It's the best build ever, because it's a really great build, don't get me wrong. That issue, however, is very relevant in this deck. So, let's talk about the actual ratios. Let's start with the Infernity side of things. Only run 1 Archfiend, even if it's run to 3. You only run 1, I think this is common knowledge by now. Archfiend getting off the list would do nothing. If now is too scared to do it. 1 Patriarch just for certain combos. Wildcat is definitely a key part of the combo now. If you haven't seen it yet, there's an Infernity combo showcase on my channel, where you'll see all the combos and you'll actually know how to play out certain hands. There's the Sage, which also needed for the combo. It's a hog target. 1 Mirage is enough. I've seen builds run 2 or 3. That's outright wrong. You have to come across a build that needs to actually run more than 1. Well, some builds need to run more than 1, but that's because they don't know their combos. 1 Paranoia, also part of the key combo. 3 Barrier, 1 Break. I feel like in this specific variant you don't enter enough Biff monsters, so you want the additional back row to search. Dus you can always opt to not search it. It's not like you're forced to search them all. And 1 Launcher. Very simple Infernity numbers. Pretty low as well. You don't want to actually open any Infernity cards. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing to open them, because even if you have them in the graves with some cards, you can just still play, it's fine. Just prefer not to. Now, let's jump into the DDD ratios. Swirl Slime is the hardest to search in this deck, but it clears cards from your hand, meaning it's easier to go handless. There's some a DDD monster from your hand, which, once again, clears your hand. It's just harder to search and it's not level 1. Triple Necro Slime, which allows us to fuse from the grave. Now, I've explained this before, I think. But this basically allows us to summon Oracle King the Ark under Cross Sheep, which you go into from Hulky Fireworks and Sage, meaning you are able to revive your Sage or your Archfiend without a revival spell. With the right hand, Necro Slime can take that card's place, which is honestly kind of nuts. Not gonna lie. Lamia is just the hyper searchable tuner. It's what makes this engine mostly worth playing. If you open like 2 Necro Slime and Lamia, you have full combo. So never enough one-offs. Kepler, just search your contract, which searches Lamia. This and the revival spell is full combo. Triple allure, all of the DDs are dark. If we clutter our hand with, for example, multiple Keplers, we can allure it. Also keep in mind, this is a pendulum monster. The effect to, the pendulum skill effect that destroys all monster control with level greater than or equal to the spend skill will take a while to kick in. We can just put Kepler in skill, it's fine. It's one of the only reasons why I like this card as a starter. We can actually scale it up and set a monster, basically. The illegal Infernity play is legal here. But yeah, this clears hand. Watch out with banishing Infernity cards in this deck. This is not 3 axes, we cannot easily go into Leviair. I need all Leviairs for a main combo. Like, the only Infernity you ever want to banish with this, if you really have to, is... well, I suppose Mirage can still be played around. Banishing Mirage is somewhat fine. And banishing Mirage Patriarch is also not the end of the world if you banish one of the other Infernities. Full combo will be a challenge. One instant to ready fusion could also just be just 3 ready fusion if you are able to cut a card. I suppose 3 ready fusion, 1 instant fusion also works, although you have a big chance of opening double then, which doesn't do anything. So honestly, this card's nuts with Theseus. This card serves 2 purposes. If you open ready fusion or instant fusion, it's basically the same card for this deck. And any other monster, doesn't matter which monster, and a revival spell. You have full combo. That's it. Full combo. This also acts as a revival spell. If you link into Linkcross, go into Hulk. If you go into Hulk, Sage, you can dump the Archfiend, go to Cross Sheep. Fusion summoning under Cross Sheep acts like a monster reborn. These are also revival spells. It depends on what your hand needs, really. This is a revival spell. I talked about this already. Another revival spell. Searcher, consistency card. Hate opening it, kind of, if it like doesn't give Kepler any targets. I considered running Swamp King, the fusion contract, for a while. But I couldn't figure out any hands where it's actually useful. Yeah, this is also... You don't want to open this as a revival spell, so... You're kind of low on revival spells, but... Due to the way this deck is built, it's usually fine because there's a lot of inherent ways to revive cards. Now, the fun part about this extra deck is that you're just gonna have to blankly copy it. There's nothing you can edit in this extra deck. It's not by your preference, this is factually the correct extra deck. If you play through a few hands, you will use all 15 cards. There's no choice here. Well, I suppose you can replace these 2 with other Link 2s, but there are no better Link 2s. I often talk about this, because there's like... common mistake I see in Infernity builds. Wait, why not just run Barricade Blocker? Oh my god, it discards. Yeah, but don't forget, part of the same effect during the end phase, add your launcher back to your hand. Meaning you're not handless. Meaning your board's pretty much worthless. If you're running a variant of Infernity that runs Barricade Borg, you could just... You might just as well play Dark Warrior, Infernoble, other combo deck. Infernity shines with no hand, that card adds a card back to your hand, you don't have to run it. But yeah, Oracle King is just... It can do you a favor in time. It can be combined with the gate to heal you up, which can be relevant at times. Most of the time it isn't. Consider it running Wear After, and theoretically if you run this in Wear After can heal you in end phase and then you can just win in time. I didn't tell you that though. But yeah, it's just easy to summon Fusion with high attack. This can actually come up, this effect. Basically if you special summon another DD monster in your field, you can special summon one from your grave. Certain hands can revive the Lamia, which can be nice. Best instant and ready fusion target. 200 eyes is part of the main combo. The Garrus is also part of the main combo. 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 You just need to link off monsters a few times, so 2 link 2s. This just has a very high attack. If you have the additional resource during your combo, you can summon this in one of the link arrows. That will become 2800 attack. in one of the Ling Arrows of Sayuja, I mean. And that does help one of my issues of not having strong enough boards, because that is a decent amount of attack. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty okay. Hulk is just Hulk, it's summoned Sage from the deck, it's our main starter, this is our new Cherubini basically. It gives us more freedom to Cherubini, since we no longer need to strictly on level 3s. As I already talked about Scott, it's insane. So yeah, this is my DD Infernity list. Main deck ratios could perhaps be adjusted in the future. Don't be blinded, I've actually run more revival spells than you think. These two are revival spells. These in many cases enter as revival spells. These can enter as revival spells. This is a revival spell. This is a revival spell. Certain hand traps we can combat, like Ash. With right hand we can easily play around it. Other hand traps are a bit harder to deal with. But no single build is perfect. And in upcoming format, hand traps do seem to lose popularity. I've encountered a few decks main decking Drawn Lockbird on Elepro. Against those decks, you auto-lose. You could theoretically main deck or side deck Prohibition against them, but realistically you're not gonna win. Because the time you search, sometimes you search with the DD, but if you don't search with the DD, your first search will be when you're already handless, meaning you have to set your cult by the grave, you have to send out your crosshair designators. It's kind of one of the difficulties the deck deals with. But in general, it's a very consistent build. If you like Infernity, I definitely recommend at least playing around with the ID. Personally, after all the hype I've given DD Infernity, I do think 3X is still better. Simply for the fact that we can theoretically play Infernity Pound combo, we can enter stronger boards. Yes, we have less consistency. Yes, we'll probably have to figure out a way to solve the lack of revival spell crisis, since neither Zero Max nor Charge to the Dark World works for 3X's now. But yeah, those are just small kinks I have to work out. I previously mentioned in my this is the best Infernity build going forward video, the one where I teased this build, that this would be a way forward, that I would create a master guide for this, that I would create a 1-on-1 for this. I don't think the DD Infernity build, sadly, is that great. The concept sounds very great in practice, I tried to make it work. The combo was harder to get than I thought, seriously. It took me like 2 hours to get the actual combo right. It was a very hard combo to get right. I had to use Wildcat's effect, ironically, the level manipulation. So to summarize, I think this deck is a lot of fun. It's very consistent if you aren't afraid of hand traps, or that afraid for most hand traps, and you got a DD core laying around. This is a hybrid you might want to try. It's just ready fusions are expensive, which cannot be replaced. You have to actually run them. Yeah, if you just have the cards laying around for this, it's a fun build to try. Is it the actual best build? No, but it's up there. It's still a damn great build. It's just, it lacks that edge. I'll upload replays later this day, so you can actually see the deck in action. And I might do some test hands. And that's probably all I will do for this build. After that, I'll start looking towards the 3X variant again, because once again, even though in a good day it can beat any meta deck, it still lacks that oomph. Consistency isn't everything. It's nice to be consistent, but if that's at the price of power, you're not actually delivering the powerful enough boards to win the games, it's not good enough. So yeah, I'm very fucking proud of this deck. I think it's very cool. The fact that this unironically exists. A week ago I didn't know this was a possibility. It's incredible with Yu-Gi-Oh! Honestly, that's the thing I do love about Yu-Gi-Oh! The unpredictability of this game. If you told me a few weeks ago DD30 was one of the best options, I would laugh at you. That doesn't even make sense. Yet here we are, and it's one of the best builds I've ever created. But I just don't feel like it's good enough, which might just be my pride as a duelist, as a deck builder. Maybe I'm being too critical of myself, but I think we need to find a way to play bomb. I think we need to find a way to get bigger boards, because this just isn't enough. As Kiryu, aka Kalin, would say, this build doesn't satisfy me. But yeah, thanks for watching this deck profile. I don't do deck profiles that often. But I really want to get this deck list out there. I mean, if you have suggestions for this deck, try me. I don't think you will. Not even trying to be rude. I have a hard time imagining people knowing more about this deck than me. It might sound like an ego trip, but if you actually think about it, it kind of makes sense. One thing that could theoretically be tried is Tuner's High in this deck. Theoretically, the card could perform well. It's generally an underrated card. It's not a way to just start off with combos. But it's unreliable and it's very weak to Ash. And I do fear the Ash in Infernity. There's nothing I fear more than Ash Blossom. It's the biggest danger to Infernity together with Troll. Regardless, hope you guys enjoyed the profile. Hope you all have a beautiful day. Like, seriously, hope you do. Goodbye.